Hi, welcome to the coaching game. I am Laurie Lawson, and guess who's here?
Terry Yoffe with Coaches Creating Change, and change it is.
Yes, change is going to be the theme forever. And luckily, we chose a good theme because it's just, well, change is a constant.
It's constant. You're right. I did this webinar and I called it Welcome to the New Normal. What's your plan B? So it's all about change and being ready to embrace it.
That's a great webinar. And I'm thinking that I'm thinking we'll never really go back to thinking, oh, long-term planning and it's set in stone and this is step one and step two. And I don't think we're ever going to go back to that. I don't think we trust it. And I'm not saying that's not a good thing. I think not trusting it might be a good thing also, but just being a little more flexible. And I always refer to the blog that you wrote, which dancing on shifting sands.
A little louder. Sorry. Okay.
Oh, okay. I thought you were leaving us. All right. So, dancing on shifting sands. I think that is a theme for the rest of our lives, really. We know those sands can shift.
Who knew back then that it would be relevant fast forward?
Seriously, and even more relevant maybe than, I mean, there were some changes going on, but now it's like, whoa, change cities. So, and that's funny because one of the quotes that I use a lot is the only constant is change. And so I think we chose a good topic. I'm not sure. I know we didn't have this in mind when we started it, but it was like we help people change. So let's talk about it. So, but what we thought we would do today is Terry loves quotes. Anybody who watches this show knows Terry loves quotes, and we thought we would talk about some of our favorite quotes, and or quotes that we don't quite get. I have both. I have my favorites, and then there are some that's like I'm still working on them, really trying to understand what does that mean. So, Terry, do you have a quote you want to start with?
I do. One that I got from my training from CTI. You kind of talk about it a little bit, and one of the things you were going to talk about, there are no mistakes. But this is, there's no such thing as failure, only feedback.
I love that. I love it. And yes, one that I worked on forever and ever and just am starting to get it is you cannot make a mistake. What? Of course you can make a mistake. I've done it 100 times, but I get it now. So where are you coming from with that quote that you just gave? And then I'll do my mistake thing. Yeah.
Of course, this doesn't apply to me.
Of course not. We make no mistakes and yeah.
So one of the things, as a matter of fact, a young gal I was just talking to, possibly a prospective client, talked about she had a summer job and it didn't go well. She didn't feel good about it, just the environment, and she left. And, we kind of deep dove into it a little bit. And, I said to her, what's the learning here? And she went into it and talked about it. So if you can shift the mindset from, oh my God, and look, there are mistakes, like if you're an accountant for a company and you're off by $1 billion, well,
that's a mistake.
That's a mistake.
Yeah.
But in our lives, we do stupid things, or we do things that we did. You can't look in the rearview mirror and beat yourself up about it, right?
Mm-hmm.
So what did you learn from it? That's the takeaway, that you can't change what happened, right? Whatever caused the mistake, so to speak, nothing you can do. All you can do is learn from it and move forward. And that's a perspective I work with my clients. They come with something, they're beating themselves up, and then we try to move to another perspective. What was the learning? What was the feedback? What did you get? from that. And usually it opens up, oh, you know, it's a behavioral pattern I always do. I pick up my marbles and I leave if things don't go my way.
Mhm.
Or I lash out, or I speak up too soon, or I don't pay attention. So there's always a learning, which gives somebody feedback for how to move forward, because that's all you can change is the moving forward.
Perfect, perfect. Yeah. Well, yes, one of my quotes, which will piggyback on that, was all experiences are opportunities for growth. And that's exactly what you were saying. It's like, because there's nothing you can do in retrospect, but there is something you can go, oh boy, that felt awful. I hope I never do that again. And here's the steps I'm going to take to make sure I don't do it again. So yeah, and along those lines, so I love that quote. Feedback, no failure, just feedback, and all opportunities are experiences for growth. And I think, and that's a cool thing about coaching too, because it's like we don't go back and rehash, oh, what did you do when you were 5? Oh, well, we just say, okay, you're here. Now let's move forward. You know, what experiences can you learn from? But that's the cool thing about coaching. We're not going to have you on a couch regressing and all of that. We're going to hopefully move you forward. And that's the goal. But the one that I'm still, I won't say I'm still working on it. I think I've got it, but then sometimes I don't, was we were told in coach training, and I think we used an entire day to debate it. You cannot make a mistake. And it's like, what does that mean? Does that mean if you kill somebody, that wasn't a mistake?
Well, it may have been a learning experience, but however, you pay for it.
Definitely. There are consequences. Yes, I like that one too. You can do whatever you want, but there are consequences.
There's consequences.
But I think where it's coming from is that you are doing the best you can at this particular point. To you, that was the solution. Right. Now, 2 minutes later, you may go, whoa, I could have done this better. But at that very point, it was like, okay, that's your solution. So it's, and I guess it's going back to what you said, it's not a mistake, it's an opportunity. It's a reason to get some feedback. And it's a launch pad. Let's say it's a launch pad that'll move you forward. So yeah, but it took, I'm embarrassed to say it took me a good 10 years to get a real grasp on that. It's like, what you mean I can't make a mistake? But yeah, I got it.
Yes. And, you know, I guess you call it a mistake. I mean, I don't, or you know, a digression, whatever fancy word you want to use, you still did something that was out of the norm and the end result wasn't what you expected, right? It wasn't what you expected. How do you change that? You know, instead of getting stuck in something that you did, you've got to get off that position in order to move forward, right?
I think you've hit on something really cool. Yes, it's like, it may have turned out the way you wanted it to, and it may not have turned out the way, but how do you feel about it? You know, deep down inside, you kind of know, oh, that wasn't the best thing I could have done, or, oh, I really messed this one up. So I think it's like, you're feeling how, we got to think about that, but I think it's, you know, how do you feel after you do it? Is that an indication? Yes, I think it has to be. If you're feeling not good inside, then it's like, ooh, what didn't go right here, and how can I make it right?
And yeah, how many of us have had those happen to us where we expected one outcome and another outcome popped up, so to speak.
Mm-hmm.
Whether was our fault or not our fault. And I think we're all guilty of it. We're all guilty of beating ourselves up for the sheer pleasure of beating ourselves up.
You think it'll make you feel better. Oh, if I really beat myself up, then it'll be okay.
it's kind of a cycle. It's punishment when we feel that we did something that made us feel vulnerable, made us feel fearful, embarrassed, fill in that word. We go to a place called self-loathing.
Wow.
And that's the part that then comes out to play. And we let it. And what it does is sets a precedent for what we might do next, just hypothetically, if we went on an interview, a job interview, and we did not do well. We really blew it out, not in a good way, and we didn't get the job. What does that do to somebody's ego, feelings? They will have second thoughts about going on another interview.
Yes.
Will screw up another interview because they've still got that tape on what happened in the last interview. So it's very hard to move forward if that mindset stays in place. It's about addressing the mindset and looking at what happened, what shifted, and replaying it so that you get an idea of what you did. And you may have done nothing if you didn't get the job, may not. So, I know we don't go back in time. However, my philosophy is, I think if somebody is stuck and has an old belief or assumption or pattern that they keep repeating, you have to look at that and figure out what's causing it and what's keeping it in place. And then how do you stop it or override it? Not even stop it, override it.
Or deal with it, or just how do you most deal with it? Good point. Definitely, we help people break patterns. And when you were saying that, it's like, yes, it could actually, if you screw up a job interview, you could give up your dream and go, oh my God, I don't belong in this field. Let me go choose something where I'm overqualified, so I don't have to worry about it. And here's where the coach comes in, and here's where the opportunities present itself. There's a lovely book out there, and I wish I had the ability to look up the lady's name right now, but it's called The Beautiful No, N-O. And it's right. Have you heard about it? It's a beautiful book, and she wanted this job so badly, and it was like, oh my goodness. And they let her right on up to the fourth interview and everything, and then and she had her friends are celebrating, and then in a week they told her, oh, we hired somebody else, or we're not hiring, and she was devastated. And then the next day, the Oprah Winfrey Show called her, and she got that job and ended up being a producer on that show, that was a beautiful no. But at the time, it was like the worst thing that could happen. Exactly. So that's again, there are opportunities there. You may not be able to see them. What's that quote by Martin? Yeah, Martin Luther King, faith is taking the first step without being able to, taking the first leap without being able to see the first step. Yeah, just go ahead and get out there and do it. So, yeah.
Exactly. That's, so what else? What other?
You know what? Yeah, okay. You know what? I have to confess, I am cheating. When I graduated from my coaching school, you get this lovely book, and I don't know if they're still doing it, called Unconventional Wisdom, and a bunch of quotes. So I am cheating and taking some of those quotes because those are the ones I was
full of quotes right here.
Oh, okay. So there. So I was learned on them quotes. So I'm gonna use them. But one of my favorite is, and God, it's hard to remember when you're in the middle of it. Pain is inevitable. Suffering is optional.
Oh, yes. Oh, yeah.
Right. And to me, that means yes. If you cannot walk around your whole life trying to avoid pain, it's not going to happen. You're going to get somebody's going to hurt you. You're going to hurt yourself.
Sure.
But it's how you deal with it. It's like the suffering is optional. You can go on for months and years and decades, bemoaning the fact that,
Poor me, woe is me.
yeah, yeah. If only I'd been
Victim,
raised in a family that had a lot of money or something,
victim, the
Yeah,
victim.
exactly. The victim stance.
I love them.
Yeah. They're good clients for sure. Yes. But and yeah, we all fall into that. But and it's just something to remember. And not to say you need to disregard your feelings. It's I think you should embrace your feelings. It's like embrace them. Oh God, that hurt, and boy, I'm not happy. And then you got to slowly get out of it and go, okay, how am I going to deal with this? What do I need to heal this? What do I need to do to circumvent it? How am I going to get over this hurdle? But it's a hard, suffering is optional. I've told myself that more than once. It's like, yeah, I need to get out of this now. Okay, enough.
But when you hold on, you stay stuck and you don't move.
Exactly.
The faultings of some of that, and even though you might not express your pain or your sorrow or your feelings, they go somewhere. They go somewhere.
And they pop up later, yeah.
And they always pop up, except
Yes.
it's unconscious. Those kind of feelings go to your unconscious.
Yeah.
So you don't have to deal with it or feel it. And the thing is, they start to come up in situations and they become detrimental. And, if you don't let them out and express them and talk about them and what's causing this, they will run your life for sure.
And you won't know it. It'll be like, why did I do that? What is wrong with me? And it's like, it's something that you've suppressed. So eventually you have to just go ahead and deal with it. Yeah.
One of the things my clients always talk about is we all have a story.
Mhm.
I really call people on their stories. As clients will say, Terry doesn't want to hear about your story. So, one of the quotes I have it's my quote, change your story, change your life.
Mhm. Mhm.
We all tell ourselves a story and we build our lives around it. For example, somebody in a company wanted to get the VP role. They didn't get it. Oh, I didn't want it. It would be too much work. It would take me away from my family. They build a story to cushion themselves from feeling the disappointment, the pain, the rejection, but it's there. And it runs them. I have another quote, what runs you runs your business.
Ah, true. Or another reaction to that could be, this company's not fair. It's like they don't let women get to the top. And then you're walking around hostile and your feelings are running you, and and you're not even sure why. It may make you feel better to rationalize, but it doesn't really move you forward. It keeps you, as you say, stuck. So yeah.
Not move you forward at all.
And what runs your business also runs the rest of your life too. You can react to your family that way and your friends, and so
people wonder why they have knee-jerk reactions to things. They, something happens, but it becomes a trigger for them.
yes.
And all of a sudden, whammo, they don't stop for that split second. They have a choice. In between the trigger and the reaction is a choice. Give in and go off, or hold back and say, wait a minute, what's happening here? And not buy in to the trigger.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, lots of things that go on with all of us.
It's truly amazing that we get anything done because there's so much going on at all times. It's like, whoa, I'm tired just thinking. And that's why some people love to study the brain and why it does this and why I can't do it. It's too much. I'm exhausted. It's like, I don't want to think about thinking. I just want to think, and
That's
hopefully I'll learn. But yeah.
my favorite thing.
I know you and I, we were in some sort of session together. You loved it, and that was the day it was like, my fingernails were just digging into the wood there. And you said, this is my favorite one. I'm going, really?
It was to understand. Without understanding the machinery, it's very difficult to help clients. Is to understand where they're coming from. I mean, that's for me. Not every coach does that, but it's understanding who they are and helping them with that. I think that, one of your other things was every client is a student and a teacher.
Yes.
And how many times as coaches, we can't express it. I've had clients that have talked about that have tears running down my eyes because it hit home for me. But It's not my story. I can't say, wait a minute, I'm having
this. Me too. Let me tell you what happened to me.
Can't do that.
Yeah.
There's a learning.
What's interesting is, and again, this is one of my favorite yet most difficult exercises to keep doing after training. We had an exercise called button pushing. And if someone's like getting on your nerves, it's like, it's not the person, it's you. So you've got to figure out, okay, what is this triggering in me? Why am I reacting this way? And that's where everybody becomes your teacher. It's like, it's not like you said, no, I don't hang out with people like that. They drive me crazy. Why? What makes you not do that? And it's a fascinating learning experience, but I think it takes a lot of courage. It's kind of easy to see where everybody's a student because we always want to tell people what to do, and we are trained to keep you moving and enlighten you and evoke awareness and all that. But the other one where everybody's a teacher, that's the harder one for me. It's like, I love to get information from people, but when I ask for it,
It's very true. One of my big buttons is abandonment.
Yeah.
And I've learned so much about it, having friends that walked away from me, had no idea why. And it was difficult until I delved into it and realized that was a trigger for me.
Mm-hmm. And that's important. And you can go back and figure out for yourself why, but it's like, okay, I don't have to keep reacting that way. Right. I need to embrace it.
That's the choice. And coaching is all about choice for everyone. You make a choice and you live with the consequences.
Absolutely. Or rectify, but yeah, you do live with the consequences of whatever choice you make until you make another choice. And it could be a better choice or a worse choice, but you do make another choice. But it could be something as simple as when I'm on a Zoom and people start chatting, when I'm there to listen to whoever's presenting, that gets on my nerves. It's like, why stop talking? That's rude. Let this person talk. And they're not talking, but it's distracting. And I find that also when people speak up a lot, it gets on my nerves. And I go, you know why? Because I don't speak up a lot. I want to speak up a lot, but it's like, nobody wants to hear what I have to say. Let's listen to what someone else has to say. So I know that's a button. And when I do it, it's like, but as soon as I go, they're getting on my nerves. It's like, go say something, just break that pattern if you can, because so ingrained, like you said, it's really down there. Who knows where or when it started?
Right.
You built on it and built on it, that it's like it's become monumental.
Exactly. I mean, you don't have to go back to when, and sometimes you have to look at what was a trigger. I work with a client. His relationship in the present almost mirrors his relationship with his father in a lot of ways.
Yeah.
And we needed to get to that and look at what his relationship was with his father, because that has colored and influenced his other relationships.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's, again, we're back to, that's an opportunity to learn. It's not an opportunity, or it's not, it shouldn't be an event where you go back and flagellate yourself and go, oh, if only I had done this, and oh, I'm so bad. And it's an opportunity to just learn. So yeah, you do use the past. You're absolutely right. We use the past as an opportunity to learn, which is everything.
A little window into coaching today, and I don't know where we are in time.
About 2 minutes. We got
Okay,
2 minutes. Yeah, 2-minute warning.
opportunity to really look at some of the ways we look at things, some, even the quotes we use and how significant they can be, when we coach, and their meaning, and it's how you come across with your client. It's all about the client and for their
Right.
betterment.
And you don't want to keep handing them platitudes and quotes and everything.
No,
But a lot of times a quote will serve as a mantra to me. It will be like, suffering is optional. How long do you want to put this on? And when are you going to get over it? Just a little mantra to yourself. And if you want to pass them on, that's great. Or what's even more effective is having your client come up with their own mantra. It's like, what can you tell yourself the next time this happened before you make that rash move or whatever? Yeah.
Yeah.
Quotes are good. And I dare say, if you go back and watch our shows, you're going to find that Terry always brings a quote to the game. And we love it because it just, we know that someone out there has already put it in beautiful words, and we can modify it and squeeze it and massage it a little, but we're probably going to use the basic element of it anyway. So we thought today we would just use some of ours and share the quotes that we came up with.
They've enjoyed it, and I will see you in September.
I know, isn't that amazing? Yeah, we've got a September show coming up, and we're going to get through this hot summer and keep on creating some change.
Change is great. It's
Yes,
always
it is. Terry, Yoffe, always a pleasure. I will see you. I'll see you before September. That'll be fun.
Absolutely.
Thanks.
Bye.
Bye-bye.